Mr. Soze?
Oh, howdy. How you doing?
Howdy. Good. Kid Archer. So I read through the treason charge, and based on the fact that the Constitution is based specifically on Los Santos and treason is based on the state of San Andreas, no, I don't think you can commit treason.
You don't think you committed at all?
Well, because the way that treason is written, it's inherent to the state of San Andreas, but the
Right.
Constitution is specifically for Los Santos.
Yes. Well, it is the Los Santos Constitution, correct. But a constitution is generalized as a state endorsed, top of the line, okay from the state, essentially. So, well, this is how I see it anyway, and what I've done with, actually looking up the meanings of it and verbiage. From my understanding, the Constitution in itself, even if it is aimed at just a city to give them powers to create out of their city, it is endorsed by the state. So it is of the state, but anything under it from the Constitution, which gives power from the state, would then not be state law. But it's it's one of those things again, it's got to be the whole intent, fucking spirit of the law, fucking whatever the judges want to do. And that's what I feel like the issue is with these guys. If you ask them to clarify it, they'll just ignore the question. That's generally how I've seen it happen.
Hmm.
So consider this here. Let me give you a little analogy. Okay, we have our government building over there that we all have apartments in, right? Just over this way.
Sure.
Me and you, we're neighbors, and don't take offense to how I use this analogy, by the way. But we become friends. We go over. Smoke a bit of weed, have drinks. Sometimes you use my pool when I'm out. We just got that understanding that it's okay that we share each other's property. We're just cool with it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Then, one day, the manager who's authorized to run the building, let's call him State Guy. I'm going to be called Blaine County. You can be called Los Santos, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The manager, Mr. State, says, "Listen, I'm running out of power here, guys, and money. I gotta evict you guys and sort some shit out." So we both get evicted. A few months later, you, being Los Santos, gets a letter from them and says, "Hey, you can come back and live back in this apartment because, we got the funding and we think we can run this again." So you head back there, but the apartment next to you is still of their ownership. Well, the government's ownership, whoever, the manager,
Sure.
whatever. Do you think you'd have permission to walk next door and, do whatever the hell you want?
Um, no, I don't think so
Right. So,
because that's my property is the the apartment that I rent. I don't
mm-hmm.
have you know access to anything else.
Right. So say this: the shower in your property started to fuck up, and you couldn't use the hot water no more. So you went to the manager and just said, "Hey, pal, listen. You sort of run the joint. Let me just shower in the place next door just while we're waiting for the repairs." And considering he's Mr. State, he says, "Yeah, that's no problem. Here's the key. You're good to do it. Do you have permission then?"
Okay. Yeah. No, I would say yes because this Mr. State gave me the permission.
Okay, so what if Mr. State said, "Hey, Los Santos, I'm gonna give you permission because you've been here so long to, I trust you. Okay, you can just write laws and do whatever you want, however you want, but you have to follow these laws here as a base that we both agree on, and this will be our constitution." At that point, does Mr. State be a part of this constitution in which he is of the state, and he's passing that law with your view to encourage you to use that while you make your laws? Well, laws. I shouldn't say laws. Your procedures of the building.
Uh, y- yes, I would say that it's with that, the basis of the, like the Constitution or whatever of that building
Mhm.
set that I can make procedures based on that.
Well, that's the way I see the Constitution here in the same analogy, because it is what is authorizing them to have those powers to create the laws. See, so in my opinion, it works in the same manner when you look at it like that. If it's giving authorization to a government that is of the state's authority. It isn't their authority creating the law. You know what I mean? So anything under that would be the local government creating the law, which would be you, Los Santos, being able to, allow people to go into certain other buildings if it didn't contradict other state laws.
That makes sense.
That's my
Um,
analogy I'd use, and that's what I try to tell people. Usually, when I talk to the police, I don't use a shower. I use a toilet and ask them if they can go shit in Blaine County whenever they want, and then they say no. So it's strange that they do it, though.
hmm. Um, yeah, I don't really know, I don't know what to say. I mean, do you feel that the sheriff's department doesn't have authority, or
Yes, technically, only because they haven't asked for the permission slip in guidance of the Constitution.
do you
So
think
it's
that the
like,
Constitution should be expanded to the state of San Andreas rather than just to Los Santos?
not necessarily. So, the way I see it is the name of what's in the Constitution is irrelevant to its power. If it's of state authority that you can create laws and it's auto signed by them, then it's okay. It's like for you, for instance, you and the manager, when he gave you the okay to do it, you were only starting in Los Santos, which was your apartment, but you do have the
Mhm.
power to change it and say, hey, listen, if it's within these guidelines, maybe I'll keep two of these apartments now until somebody else moves in. That's okay. And the state would automatically sign off on it because they granted you that power. That doesn't mean they couldn't take it from you, which is what it also says
Sure.
in the Constitution, that they have the right to remove things or whatever. So it's like a license, in my opinion, to say, hey, go and do what you want to do. If you overstep the boundaries, then we'll have an issue. But if you were to write legislation that said our law enforcement isn't just Los Santos, it is now Blaine County as well, and there was no argument, then there's no reason that it wouldn't be passed.
But that hasn't happened yet.
Nope. And that's what I'm actually going to court tomorrow for treason, because I went up to Blaine County and I said, I'm not sure you have jurisdiction here, Sheriff, and wrote on the wall as a bit of a joke that I'm the overseer of the state, which only means that I would be overseeing, the state like a person would in a democracy, really. So I don't understand how that's going against the state. It would just imply that I was doing my part as a democratic human, a civilian, to, encourage the right moves to the state. But the reality for me is technically inside the building that they own, they do have authority because they own that actual building. But outside, I
Mhm.
don't think they have the jurisdiction, no, to detain or anything like that at the moment.
Hmm. I mean, I think it definitely raises an interesting question, for crimes that are committed outside of Los Santos and, what jurisdiction is and
Hmm.
do the laws apply there, you know?
Well, so
Um,
that would also be the thing, though. The laws would technically still be able to be enforced from Los Santos, but you just wouldn't. So if you saw somebody get murdered, right, and you were
mhm.
in Sandy Shores, or well, I mean, maybe you could stop that because it's pretty much a base USA thing that you'd be fine in that situation. The feds ain't gonna push charges for arresting someone killing people. But for instance, you saw someone get robbed or something and you didn't have
Sure.
jurisdiction, if you came down to Los Santos and they entered, you could still push the Los Santos laws because it doesn't necessarily imply the laws are only based for Los Santos. So they would have the power to still enforce their law. Just I don't think the detainment and whatnot outside of Los Santos necessarily would be the same way, due to how they worded the Los Santos County Police and the Los Santos
Mhm.
bounded police in the PCP document. So
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the mayor, like the oversight, and the commissioner thing. I read through that, after the mayor became the commissioner, and it only specifically states LSPD. It doesn't, at least the last time I read it. I don't know if it's been updated since,
yeah.
but it never mentioned the sheriff's department. So does that mean that the mayor does not have authority over the sheriff's department?
So technically, I believe you would be right because in PCP 2, it does say any law enforcement agencies in Los Santos. So any that are created, he'd have power over. But the board, the boundaries of Los Santos would be the city and the county of Los Santos, which ends at Route 68. So Blaine County
Mm.
wouldn't be in his power if that was of existence. But even how it says in there, it says, I believe it says Los Santos Sheriff's Office. I didn't even know, to be honest. Like I said, I think there's a little bit missing to even give them the foundation in appointing them as a department at the moment. So I'm not sure myself.
Hmm.
The thing is,
I
though,
mean,
if you
at
bring
the
these
end of
up
the
to the
day,
judges, they're gonna give you blowback and put you in court. Or if you talk to the sheriff about this, he's gonna put you in jail. That's what happened to me. So it's a hard situation to be in, and that's why I'm asking lawyers and other judges around here like these questions, so I can get an understanding of how other people feel and
yeah.
portray all this.
I mean, I guess my kind of thought is that the mayor is the mayor of the city. He's not the mayor of the state. So it would
Yeah.
make sense that his jurisdiction is for the city, for city agencies, and then outside of that, there probably should be another authority overseeing, you know, agencies outside of Los Santos County.
Well, that's generally how it would work. I believe for sheriffs, they get elected by the people in that county. So obviously, everybody got to vote on that for some reason, even though he's meant to be county based. But that's also, I mean, it's hard to argue anything when everything is spaghetti because it still says Los Santos Sheriff's, department. So it's we don't know, and if we ask the questions, we don't get answers. So it's hard to I guess understand it just purely based on that because if they are only Los Santos, they didn't have jurisdiction. But if they somehow had jurisdiction up there, then who controls them? Because nothing in the government says, like you said, the mayor only controls Los Santos enforcement agency. So are they now a new power that can do whatever the fuck they want without restriction? Is that what we've created here? Who knows? It's either shit
Mm,
or it's shit. There's a
I
very big
mean,
problem that could occur. So,
talk to the mayor about unrestricted power. I think he knows a lot about it.
oh yeah, he does. And he thinks he knows a lot too. I think that's the issue, though. I tried to have a conversation with him once. Well, actually, a couple of times. He seemed somewhat responsive, but I think he just does not give a fuck. Is the reality.
Um, I think people, I don't know, maybe this is me being naive, but I'd like to think that people go into these positions with the best intentions in
Mm-hmm.
mind, that they genuinely want to help to see people succeed. But, when you get all that power and, get all of the cushy perks that come with it, I can see it becoming very difficult to let it go.
Yep.
And then it kind of turns into, well, how does this benefit me over how does this benefit everybody else?
Well, that is the flaw in which I see in this so-called democracy. We have the DOJ lead, Mr. Crane, that is also in the council tied in with Mr. Thoroughbred. So no matter what, it isn't really a democracy anymore, especially if they change their view or opinion on what the people were. I believe, a fix for me would just keep power in the people's hands as a check and balance that We can request legislation changed. If we get X amount of money, we vote on it, and if it goes through, then and the state okays it, then it okays it. That way, we as people can ask for legislation understandings or impeachments or anything like that as a mass vote, and it keeps the people in control of everything at all times as a mass. I
I don't
mean,
think you're wrong.
there's impeachment
I
charges
I
right
do.
now. We don't even know how to
I
do it.
know.
We just made a guess.
I was glad to see that there there was something on the docket regarding the impeachment. I mean, I read through it. I don't think that they're wrong. Will it stand in court? I feel like it's going to be tough to
Yeah,
actually get that to go through based
the
on just what
that's
was
the
written.
well, that's the reality of all this. Whatever the DOJ want to be true will be true because of the spirit of the
Because,
law. So
well, I mean, it's at the end of the day, what I read, I read what Murphy wrote, and yes, I think that it doesn't make sense for them to be deputies anymore. People kind of having multiple jobs in government, I think that that's part of the Constitution, or that was part of the council, is that they're only supposed to keep one job. They're not supposed to have multiple. But at the end of the day, the other than that, there's nothing really saying that he can't do what he's been doing, because there's no legislation on it.
mm-hmm.
It's in his favor, and until that there's legislation written that actually specifically states, when a council member can be deputized, for how long they can, basically go on duty and act as a deputy. Uh, there's nothing really anybody can do. Hopefully, from this, even if he doesn't get impeached, at least if legislation is written, like kind of outlining everything and making sort of a better procedure for it in the future, I don't think that that's a bad thing.
Yo, don't time them out, please, so I can
I
tell
think
them they're
a lot of
wrong. Trouble,
people, when they
please.
go
They're
to
the
court,
good
when they're
ones
dealing with this
to
kind of
troll.
thing, they assume that there's going to be a win
Please,
or a
dude.
lose, and I think it's a lot bigger than that. I think that just because, somebody may, maybe he stays as the mayor, but then like I said,
Oh,
legislation is written.
did that cop just die?
Oh, maybe. Go look at him, check on him.
Out of curiosity, damn, you okay, pal? You
I've
all
been
tight?
hurt.
Yeah, I think some of your
Ventura?
brain matter might be stuck on that pole right there. It didn't hit your nuts, did it?
No.
Hey, you hold tight. You know if EMS or anything's coming?
I have no clue.
Okay. Listen, just I'm gonna put some pressure on these wounds. What's Kit, right? You wanna?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a cop here. Hey, you might need medical, boss. I think he's fucking squashed.
Ventura, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Look at
EMS
that.
is here.
EMS is already
A car.
here. Oh my
Oh my,
gosh.
run away.
He got ejected and splattered. Nut first, I believe.
I hit the
Right
pole.
around the pole.
Oh, I can see you hit the pole. It's right here, man.
Oh, bruh.
That guy on the ground, he was my mentee when I was a officer.
You mentee. You mentor.
Yeah. I was his
Oh,
mentor.
I'm an idiot. Okay, I get it. Mentee, is that actually a word?
Well, it is now. I mean,
Well, it makes sense now that I heard it and thought about it for a second.
Yeah. Help train him. Look at how
So
good of a job he's doing.
yeah, I mean, listen, you can't teach somebody how to drive at the end of the day. Not that quick.
No, he's great though.
He had good sunglasses on, so I can tell he's a good cop.
Yeah.
I actually haven't looked at the Murphy case because I've been fucking with these guys in the dock myself. What did he post the information about the responsibilities of the council, where it says they not meant to join other agencies and all that sort of shit in their oath?
I'd have to double check it. I read through it very quickly. The the thing that I specifically remember was, the basically just why are they still deputies? There's
Yeah.
nothing going on. They're kind of, you know, uh, taking advantage of the pay, basically.
Mm. Oh, so was there any other variables he's added, evidence he's added to it? Sorry, like, or is it just purely based on this section itself?
Um,
I mean,
Let me look.
I'm gonna go look at it anyway. I just wasn't sure if you had the intel in general and all that shit. So,
No, I'd have to read through it again, but if you give me a second.
okay. I mean, listen, I'm gonna probably go look at it myself. I've been reading through all these legislations and shit for the last few weeks, so it's intriguing. It's interesting, but at the same time, demoralizing.
The main thing I was reading was Siobhan and Murphy going at it on the docket. That was pretty funny, not gonna lie.
Oh, okay. Sounds like entertainment. Absolutely perfect. Hey, what was your role in PD?
I was an officer.
Okay.
Senior officer at one point, but I stepped down.
Was it like you didn't enjoy the job, the people, or what got you not liking it
Why'd
all?
I leave?
Yeah.
It was a combination of a few things. There was an incident that happened. I don't know if did you know Lenny Hawk?
Lenny Hawk, I believe so, from a few, like 5 years ago. I'd only just came back to the city a few weeks back, so I'm not sure of anything that's actually happened otherwise, I don't think.
Lenny, I think, was pretty disillusioned at the end, but he was very frustrated with how things were running, and it kind of came to a boiling point where he shot Captain Slacks, and then when I tried to arrest him, he shot me.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was a lot. Um, but
What was
after
his,
that,
do you know what made him explode?
I think he felt like people weren't, other officers weren't supporting other officers. Felt that, it was kind of also the police policing each other rather than just trying to support each other and give each other backup. And I think at that time there was it wasn't really being run that great. A lot of people were frustrated, morale was low, kind of the same things you hear all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I, I I do see where he's coming from. I mean, I don't agree with his methods. I don't think that should have ever gotten to that point. I'm not trying to justify it or anything, but after all of that happened, it just never really felt the same for me, at least. And about a month after that, I went ahead and I put in my resignation.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that entirely. I mean, even how I see it now, there's still a lot of for a team to work, like any sport team, any entity, any government entity, for them to really work, they need to be cohesive. And if that's not there, there's going to be major flaws, for those exact reasons. While obviously shooting a motherfucker is a little bit overboard and probably terrorism.
Yeah, a
Um,
little bit of an overreaction.
yeah, I can. You can be the worst person in the world, but still have a point. Sure, but I think the people that look at their enemies and can't learn anything from them are a flaw in society, and I believe that's maybe what is a problem with some of the people in police as well as the DOJ and whatnot. I still think they're very. They want somebody to lead them. That is for them and will listen to them, is what it feels like. Because from all these court cases that are going on, I've had police come up to me, I've had judges, lawyers, whatever, all in the same understanding that there's something that is inconsistent between everybody. And I don't think that it helps. While it is good to have some sort of like fightable law and vague law, it doesn't really help the police at the same time be respected by the people themselves when they don't even know the laws and they're not able to enforce them in a way that is fair and somewhat balanced, I guess.
Yeah.
Especially
I
when it comes to
think,
treason.
I think a big part of, at least my kind of frustrations with the PD is that, and again, I haven't been in the PD in over a month now. I don't know. Hopefully
Thanks,
things
Evil.
have gotten better or changed. But one of my frustrations was that it felt like officers were not empowered or given the tools to do their jobs effectively.
Yeah.
I think that was the original intent. And when it was Captain Slacks and Captain Turner and Captain Ruth, I think that they genuinely just wanted people to be good at their jobs and, to be able to go out there and feel confident in what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is holding people accountable when they make mistakes. And I think that there were some officers that really didn't like that, and there was pushback. And I think that it all kind of started to unravel, um,
That would be the
especially
suspension
when they
lorries.
left.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I
when they
I also
left.
don't think that those
Never mind.
captains were necessarily given the authority to do what they really needed to do.
That's.
At the end of the day, you have to empower people, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to, if you're going out there, you're already dealing with enough stress and enough, BS with people, the general like criminals and civilians. If you have that BS within your police department, it's just
Yeah. If
it's taxing.
you can look, and if your commanding officers don't have confidence in what they're doing because they're not sure, then it's a reflection that's going to run through the entire police department. It don't matter if they're a sergeant, if they're a commanding officer, or at worst, like you said, somebody up the top, is feeling restricted and can't really do much. Then I can understand where that could lead to an issue, and I think it's been a common thing where discussions like this was very heavy on the people as well, like civilians and how they react to all this sort of shit. And that's why I'm saying we need less oversight from people out of this goddamn city, the state, the feds, whatever. And if we can have more people vote on change, with ways that are not being able to be manipulated in a way where if they do become corrupt, like I feel the DOJ/council is, there's no way to fight it. And that's why I think a civilian
Yeah.
vote and populace, as well as maybe a sheriff up in Blaine County having more meaning and able to pass their own type of legislations could help be a counter to that if they're all kept separate as separate entities.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. At the end of the day, I always thought of, when I was a police officer, I always thought of myself as, I'm serving the public. That is my job,
Exactly.
to protect and to serve the public. And I don't think that is the shared mindset.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's hard to say you're working for the public when they don't have a say in what you do, is it? It's the agenda
Or
of the
trust in what you
legislation.
do.
Exactly.
They don't have trust.
Well, just imagine, if I can now vote in my sheriff or my commissioner or whatever the fuck it may be, and that's on a cycling 1 to 2 month or 3 months even, but they can be impeached at any time by the people. Then the people really do have control, as long as it's not something stupid, Like, obviously, the state isn't going to sign off when somebody's saying, "Hey, we want the commissioner killed because he gave me a citation." But if they
Yeah.
were to raise $1 million for a vote to have him impeached because he had done something negligent, then so be it. The people have the power at that point. They feel like they can fight instead of be shut down by the people that are meant to protect
Yeah,
them, and that's the issue overall, I think, for the entire counties and state.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, at the end of the, like, it just goes back to people need to feel empowered, like they need to have a voice, and
Exactly.
that they actually have a say in what's going on. And I don't know. I feel like even within the PD, probably a lot of people don't feel like they have a say in what's going on.
Yep. That's exactly how I feel. And I think, if there's a way, as you as an officer know that if the people are on your side, that's a good thing, then I believe it can make a healthier police department, a healthier DOJ, healthier anything, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
It's all about cohesion.
eh,
If we as a people are a team, then we got to work better together. If we can see it that it works like that, we got to work better together.
yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Hey, how long you been in Los Angeles for? Were you here before all the wars and shit broke out?
Yes. Yeah, you mean the Sanguine War, all of that stuff? Yeah, no, I went to Sanguine, watched watched the governor and the commissioner blow a bunch of people up. That was something.
Oh. So what'd you do
Yeah.
before all the wars and shit back in the day?
I was a police officer. I was at SDSO.
I feel like I remember your voice. I just don't remember, much of the policing. What's your shift was usually around now, or did your shift
Yeah,
change around a
shift
bit?
2.
Okay. Well, I mean, to be fair, I was pretty inactive back then too. For the last half of my stint. So, okay. Well, hey, listen. Honestly, a great talk. It's nice to speak to people that can argue a point or have their own perspective without it being shaped by the the people around them. I guess and keep their mind straight. So it's nice to talk to a fucking human. Is what I'm saying.
Well, it was very nice to talk to you too. I hope I'll be really interested to see how all this, plays out and just, what comes of it. And I hope whatever comes of it is just, benefit for everybody.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's people like you that will keep people sane. So, hopefully, you don't get the shit out of the stick like the others, and we can resolve this before it gets too bad.
Yeah. Well, what time is your trial tomorrow? I was gonna try to make that.
I think it's actually around nowish, or maybe an hour or two before now. So about 22 hours, maybe 23 hours, something like that.
Well, I hope it goes well. However, oh, I have a question for you actually. So I went to the first trial, and I wasn't there the whole time, but I was talking to another lawyer during it, and he was saying that the whole thing should have been thrown out because
Yeah.
the probable cause was based on Siobhan's testimony, but Siobhan recused herself as a witness because she was prosecuting. Um, and she just kind of left her statement, I guess, in the report, hoping that nobody would notice.
That's the thing.
What are your thoughts about that?
Well, that's what I said right at the start. Because at the start, I don't know if you were there for that, but as soon as the gavel hit, they called a sidebar, and that sidebar was her asking for her to be able to be the prosecutor. So they changed her off evidence right after the trial had started. So that in itself already fails like the due process and standards in which you're meant to have 48 hours or some bullshit to stand with no evidence changes or something like that, I believe. But not only that, changing evidence in the trial is fucking absurd. It's absolutely disgusting. But there was also the issues with so it says also in the Constitution, it's got to be semantics, but it says in the Constitution for a search or seizure to be lawful that you need to have a search warrant signed by a judge, and the subpoena that was submitted was not the search warrant signed by a judge. It was the sheriff saying, we don't need a search warrant because what's his name? Bobby said it's okay to look in my phone, which is directly against the Constitution. And like I said, this is where the holes are, and this is where I think we could fix things. I'm pointing at these and saying, hey, why don't we fix it? But instead, I'm going to get prosecuted for it. So that, too, should have been a mistrial because it's actually in the due process in which the search and seizure should be happening as well. And then there was some other shit. I can't remember What was it? I don't know. There was some other things that should have caused a mistrial, and apparently the judges said this should be a mistrial, and that's when Bailey left halfway through the case. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Because they started shutting me down when I was opening my scope questions to get to the point about jurisdictions and whatnot, and they'd say, "No, we know where you're going with this. That's enough," and they wouldn't let me answer the question. So I believe that's where he, just sort of lost his shit and stage left that shit.
Walked out. Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, he seems like a fucking human being as well. Honestly, if he wasn't there, my sanity would have just about been out the window. I was ready to start fucking shooting people and caving people's heads in.
Yeah, I like Bailey. After the trial, I was talking to Bailey on the phone, and we were talking about the civilian illegal firearms charges and how it didn't specify class 2s or something. So like, I think he was talking
silly.
about whether or not your class 2 was illegal or not. And I've noticed since those charges have been updated. So now it does state class 1, class 2, and class 3.
Oh, in the penal code.
Yeah.
Oh,
It does now.
interesting. Well, luckily for me, I was charged before they were changed, so it don't fucking matter, does it? But the reality of it is, there's a legislation that says if we have a license, we have the right to a weapon. It don't classify which one. So, what are you gonna do here? The legislation or the penal code, or do we just slap ourselves in the face?
Yeah, that's what Bailey and I were talking about. Is based on the way that the legislation is written for civilian firearms, it and I don't think it applies anymore, because I think that the penal code has been updated since. But when we were talking about it, there was a big hole in it that basically said that if I have a weapons license and somebody else has a weapons license, I could gift my gun to somebody else and it wouldn't be illegal.
Yeah, because it's not a quote unquote illegal gun or something. I don't know. Actually, is there anything even deemed? Oh, a serial number, I believe, is what they need.
But now these do specifically state that it has to be registered to the individual that's in possession of it. So
okay.
here you go.
Interesting. I mean, mine didn't have no registration that these guys could validate. It was my old police issue firearm from when I don't know if you remember the world turning purple and cracks coming out of the ground and shit, but I went into insanity in there. I was stuck in there for years. It was crazy.
God.
Yeah, I found a cave and I just ate alien goo for a few years. I think you think it would make me dumb, but I think it made me immune to radioactive toxins and whatnot. It's very strange.
Huh. Okay.
I'm
Well,
not psycho, I swear. Maybe it was a dream. I don't know. Do you remember the
I guess
purple?
I don't think I was here for the purple, but if there's ever another war in another radioactive island, I guess you'll probably be okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, actually, I said to who was it? I said to someone I flew to an island and there was bombs and shit everywhere, like holes in the ground. Shit, I was fishing for the last few days and they said you need to go to the hospital. And well, I'm fine.
Oh, there you go.
I was only there in my boardies. Okay.
All right. Well, I have to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna
deal
go
with-
read up on shit too. So.
But it was good to talk to you.
Oh, of
Best
course.
of luck tomorrow.
Yeah, appreciate the chat. Very, very, very good to have. I do appreciate it. I'll see you around tomorrow, maybe.
Yeah. All right.
Okay,
Well,
take care out
good
there.
luck with everything. You too.